Hi, I'm Jordan Koller.
And I'm Dylan Edwards, and this is our submission for career development project, Real World Education. Real World Education is a nonprofit that provides education to America's youth in areas that have not been taught by schools.
Um, the Montgomery County Public School curriculum, like many other public school curriculums, has not provided students with classes and critical life skills necessary for the real world after graduation. Instead of learning how to manage money, invest, develop good credit, pay taxes, become a leader, and communicate effectively, students are mostly taught to memorize information they will almost never encounter again in order to get an A grade. These life skills are vital to success in the real world for interviewing, for jobs, applying for loans, setting up retirement plans, and so much more. Only 12% of high school classes currently teach any form of financial education, and 78% of teachers believe there should be an appropriate financial curriculum. Also, 53% of college students reported they feel less prepared to manage their money than any other challenge associated with college. These are reasons why we felt we needed to start real world education.
In order to combat these issues, Real World Education created a free 2-week summer program and school club available to all students to teach the vital skills public schools have largely ignored. The program goes in depth about what we consider to be the 6 most vital skills for a successful future, and we challenge students with real lifelike projects and scenarios. Our main goal with the program is to prepare high school students for post-school life and set them up for long-term success and financial stability.
Our first step in developing our project was identifying our target audience. Our target audience for now will be high school students in Montgomery County, but we will expand outside not just our county, but out of our state. We also created social platforms to help us reach a greater audience with our website, Instagram, and Twitter.
We then had to figure out what the scope of our organization would be, which means what skills would we cover, what the risks are, and how we would get our funding. We decided on 6 modules that we decided to be the most vital skills, and they were investing, credit, leadership, communication, taxes, and money management. We decided on these skills because we believe these skills are the most important to life after high school, because these skills are largely ignored and they're very important. After spending 2 weeks at our program, we believe students will be more educated in financial literacy, leadership, and communication than before, and will be positioned for an easier transition to adulthood and the responsibilities that come with it. We identified some risks with our organization that included funding, and to combat this issue, we will apply for federal, state, and local grants to cover our startup costs. And we also believe we'll have donors who support our mission, who work in a similar field with, for example, Kathy Wood, who owns ARK Invest, and the Bill Gates Foundation. We also, down the road, look to obtain a sponsorship with the Education Trust, which is a sponsorship based out of DC, or a nonprofit based out of DC that focuses on solving income inequality through education. Their cause aligns with our cause because we believe financial education to be the best approach to eliminate poverty and help low income families. The sponsorship will give us access to funds, advanced data, and surveys to help us widen our audience and learn more about our audience.
After we identified our scope, we started our process and how we would kick off our program. We will start by developing a first draft of our curriculum and then going to subject matter experts for revisions and edits. Once the curriculum is finalized, we will digitalize it and make it presentable in an engaging way. As demand ramps up, we estimate we will need to hire teachers before the launch of the second year. Real World Education is looking for educators with strong educational backgrounds in the subjects and with some teaching experience. We will hire one teacher for every 75 students enrolled in a session. Teachers will be expected to teach one class from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. with a lunch break every Monday through Friday over a 2-week period. They will be paid $1,200 per session or $40 hourly. Teachers will be required to take a 5-day introductory training program to learn the material we want to teach and the methods of teaching. Teachers, there will be 4 2-week program slots available to students. We will teach 3 modules a day. Each module will be 1 hour long, starting at 9 a.m. and ending at 12 p.m. On Fridays, we will have an extra 30 minutes for a guest speaker. And we will have A days and B days. On A days, we're gonna teach communication, taxes, and money management. And on B days, we're gonna teach investing, credit, and leadership. Our next thing is we identified types of risks, their likelihood and impact, and we created mitigation strategies in case these problems arose. We also created quality measurements to ensure our program is running smoothly and created a set list of key responsibilities assigned to each owner and teacher. We also created an implementation checklist to make sure our program is keeping pace with our goals and keeping a high level of quality. Next, we created our proposed budget, in which we allocated our money into different services in a way to grow our organization. We are going to buy YouTube ads, Washington Post ads, Zoom Pro, Squarespace, which will help us create our website in the first year. And then as the years go along, we're going to hire teachers, more YouTube ads, more Washington Post ads to help us get more ads out there to help us grow our organization.
Now that we have organized and planned and identified our risks, we now need to go into how we would execute our mission. We're going to work as a collaborative team in order to execute our mission, which is to deliver excellent, impactful knowledge and education for our students who have not had this opportunity before. We're going to design, develop, test, and implement our solution via Zoom as part of our execution phase. After we have fully tested and implemented our solution, we'll begin our marketing operation to reach and attract students. So we set up 4 groups of execution and established time frames for them to identify what we needed to do within the time frame and have it all set up. So the first group was to get our funding and sponsorships, because this is what we would need to, execute every other phase. So the first thing we would do was apply for federal, local, and state grants, like I mentioned earlier, and then apply for financial support from private foundations. We would set up our banking account and financial budget plans. And then lastly, we would reach out to private investors and obtain a sponsorship with the Education Trust to gain more funding. The next group of execution that we had to work on was our curriculum development and hiring staff. So we would first make an outline of our curriculum and then create revisions and look at and get advice from subject experts to see what changes we need to make. Once we had our curriculum, we would develop our program to train our teachers on how we want them to execute the material. And then we would start searching for teachers to hire, interview some teachers, and eventually we would hire and train the teachers so that they're ready to teach our material. The third group was brand creation, where we would get a copyright for our name and logo, get 501c3 status from the IRS to make us a nonprofit. We would then build and design our website, buy Zoom Pro, and create our social media handles, and then post on social media so that we could get awareness for our mission and attract students. The last group was marketing, which is very important. We first had to identify our target audience, and then we had to develop our ads to make them look the way we wanted to, and then send the ads out. We also wanted to email ads to the principals of schools as a way to get more attention through the school system. They could see our ads and suggest them to students. The next step in our project was monitoring and controlling our project during the execution phase. We're going to use established project managed processes and procedures to monitor and measure our progress to our goals. We were going to have daily stand-up meetings to check in on our progress and identify issues. At these meetings, anybody can bring up an issue, and then we would have a chance to address them before the days begin. We'll also use a risk register to identify and log risks, including potential severity, the probability, and the impact of the risks. At these meetings, we will look at our progress against the pace we want our goals to happen on, to see if we're lacking and we need to keep going, or if we're on pace and doing well. At these meetings, everyone will have a chance to talk, to bring up issues, and we'll talk about resolutions. In addition, on a weekly basis, we'll produce a status report noting our progress against tasks, which we'll share with all of our stakeholders. Additionally, we review the budget each week to understand the amount spent and the remaining balance of funds. At the completion of each major goal, we'll meet as a full project team to decide if we have all that we need ready to move on to the next major milestone, and we'll make any adjustments to the plan necessary at that time. Our team will monitor electronically the amount of students registered that fully complete the training, and will provide electronic surveys for staff and student satisfaction and ask for feedback regarding how to improve our program. We'll use these surveys to collect data on how to improve the program, and there will be 3 questions on the surveys. How good was the teacher quality? How good was the curriculum we brought out? And how likely were you to recommend real-world education to a peer? We also saw some issues during the implementation of the project. And as an example, early on in the project, we could not agree on how far our scope would reach. So we did additional research and found actual data and statistics that allowed us to agree upon our scope. In another case, when we were first proposing to our investors, they thought our rollout was too aggressive. So we slowed down the number of students to teach to make sure we could adjust the program based on initial feedback. Didn't move too fast.
We will close out this first version of the project, and we will continue with upgrades and enhancements to the program based on the feedback and participation of the recipients. Real-world education currently has 1,420 students enrolled, which puts us steadily on track to hit our goal of 4,000 students by 2025. After 2 years of running the program, our teachers' satisfaction rate on a scale of 1 to 10 for all surveys was a 9.7. Satisfaction with the curriculum was a 7.9, and student overall satisfaction with the program was a 9.4. The numbers suggest that we have strong teachers, but we could improve our curriculum and may need to make modifications in certain areas. Our most significant statistic was that 9 out of 10 students said they would recommend real-world education to a friend. This statistic shows that our program was a success and that we have an opportunity to expand the program to additional students. As founders of real-world education, we learned that teachers would prefer more time to learn the modules in advance of teaching the class, and real-world education will make this change. We also learned that it takes more time and money than we thought to develop and produce advertisements, and our new budget plans will account for this. In the future, We will try to incorporate additional sectors of training such as